Welcome to season 2 of Take Care of Your Body by Rye. The power of nutrition unleashed. Keep listening to see what's next.
I hope you're smiling because it's me, Rye. Everyone, today I'm with a very special guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so hi everyone. My name is Sarah. I'm a registered dietitian and currently working as an inpatient dietitian in a facility. And then I also do run my own Instagram account as well. So thank you for having me. I'm
Thank you
excited to
so
be
much
here.
for being here. And your Instagram account is beautiful. I'm a proud follower, and she is a total girl boss. So everyone should go check her out. Do you want to give your handle?
Yeah, so it's actually Sarah underscore the underscore RDN.
All right, yay. So I have some questions for you today about being a dietitian and what you do. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so the first question is, how do you balance your work as a dietitian with your passion for creating recipes?
Yeah, so it honestly can be very hectic, balancing life in general, and then on top of it, you're a dietitian, and then you're have your own Instagram. It is a lot at sometimes, but honestly, I'm a very organized person, very type A, as most of us dietitians honestly are. So I have a planner. Honestly, I have like three planners. But one of them is for work, one of them is for my Instagram, and then another one is just honestly for like my personal life, hanging out with my friends, my family, things like that. So, when it comes to my work and my job as a clinical dietitian, I work as inpatient at a facility with 300 patients pretty much. And I oversee a diet tech as well. So it can kind of get very hectic with that amount of patients. And honestly, you're pretty much the only dietitian in the entire facility. So it's kind of crazy, but when it comes to me planning things out in my day, I always have everything planned pretty much every minute. So I have all of my assessments that I need to do, any quarterlies, annuals, any like weights that I need to follow up on, any other clinical follow-ups as well throughout the day, and then any other meetings that I need to go through. But I always carry that with me everywhere when I'm in my job, because you just never know what kind of patient's going to come up to you, or someone else is going to come up to you and say, oh, so and so needs to go see you about whatever it is. And then you have to, kind of jot it down, see when you can fit that into your schedule. It can kind of be a little bit crazy. So I always have that on hand, as well as I have it on my phone and on my iPad and everything. So I'm very organized when it
Yeah, we
comes
love
to
that you're organized. That's
it comes to that, yeah. But as far as my Instagram account, that one I do a lot of collaborations with some companies, so it gets a little bit confusing. Which company has this many requirements, what they want you to post, any products that they send you. So I kind of have a list of all of that on an Excel sheet. And then whenever the deadlines are that I need to post things by, when I need to get things approved, that's all on there to kind of stay organized and make sure that all my content is, going to be approved when it comes to working with companies. So it's a lot of organization, I guess, I should say. But that definitely helps me balance my work as a dietitian and then as well with my Instagram account.
Absolutely. That's truly inspiring. And I think it's amazing that you focus on organizing and planning out not only like your life, but kind of your work. And I think it kind of ties in together. So I love that you touched on that a little bit. Can you share a little bit about your approach to recipe development and how you ensure that they're not only delicious, but nutritious?
Yeah,
I love
so I
that. It
want
kind of rhymes. I think that's cute to say.
It does.
Right?
So I want to say there's honestly not a one-way approach to, creating recipes. It's honestly a lot of research and a lot of trial and error. A lot of times I will, look through Instagram, see what is trending, any trending recipes that I notice, and I'll jot those down in my Excel sheet in my planners, um, and make sure I kind of have some things that I, want to enjoy making, what I would enjoy eating as well. And then I do, like I said earlier, I get a lot of collaborations that I do with companies. So it kind of depends on, what products they're giving me, whether it's like an oat flour or maybe a sugar alternative that I want to add to a recipe, somewhere in there. So it kind of is, like I said, a lot of trial and error. So I have, a base of any sort of recipe. So like energy balls, I have a base recipe of what I have trial and errored on that one. So how much oats I would put in there, how much honey, whatever it may be. And then I kind of, add some things, take away some things to kind of make, a different recipe or whatever I would need to do. So it really is trial and error with those. But honestly, writing down, the base recipe, having that all set in stone and something that you do enjoy is good. So you always have to have that base recipe.
I love that so much. And do you want to talk about how you kind of got into being a dietitian and if your cooking or your recipe development had any role in that?
Yeah, so honestly, it started out when I was, I would say, in middle school and high school is when I really started to kind of look towards being a dietitian. My parents have comorbidities ever since I was in middle school and high school, so I was lucky enough that they kind of took those comorbidities and their disease states that they had, that they were newly diagnosed with, and honestly did a lot of research themselves, and went more towards the nutrition route. And we ate very healthy growing up. So that did have a major impact on me when I was younger. So it was, that's really honestly what started it. And my mom, she always cooked such good food. So I was always in the kitchen when I was growing up. So that kind of goes into the role of me loving to bake and loving to cook with that. So it was mostly my parents that kind of led me to be a dietitian.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's so
Yeah.
beautiful, and I'm sure like they're both very proud of you. So my next question is, do you like have any common misconceptions that you get in your practice about dietitians and cooking, and how do you work to break down those barriers?
Yeah, so I think there is definitely a lot of misconceptions about dietitians and cooking, and honestly, even what we eat in a day. So I think a lot of
Girl.
people think we only eat healthy foods all the time, every single day, and that's definitely not the case. Balance is key when it comes to that. So I think just everyone honestly thinks we eat healthy.
We
So
eat apples for every meal or something. Like, I think
yeah.
that's what they envision.
Yeah, and it's always when you're at work and there's like a work party and there's cake there or donuts and you're eating a cake, they're like, "Oh my goodness, you
The
eat cake?"
dietitian eating cake. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that there's a big stigma around healthy eating, and people
Mhm.
don't realize that it's important, but
Right.
it's not only the way to eat. We can enjoy sweets in balance, you know?
Right. Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons why I honestly like started my Instagram. I wanted to promote, healthy eating and having balance is key. So I wanted to show that, a lot of my recipes are dessert recipes. So I wanted to show that you can still enjoy life and enjoy the desserts, but honestly, making small changes in the recipes, making them a little bit healthier, can have a little bit more balance in your life and you can still enjoy it.
Absolutely, and you do a great job of that. I honestly love some of your recipes. I need to try them out because what I've noticed is I've kind of developed a little bit of a sweet tooth when it comes to like chocolate and peanut butter and those types of things.
Mhm.
And I'm big into like nutrition as well. I'm a registered dietitian to be, so I
Mhm.
feel like that really plays a role in that. So I got to check out some of your recipes.
Yeah.
And I'll tag you, of course, because you're a good boss, and I got to give credit where it's deserved. My next question is, how do you incorporate your nutrition knowledge and expertise into the recipes you create for your audience?
So when I post one of my recipes, I post them on my Instagram account. I did honestly just make a kind of a blog or website just like a couple weeks ago. But
Wow.
yeah, so it's kind of that one goes into more in depth. But when it comes to like my caption, I always have an explanation for why I'm, let's say, substituting olive oil instead of butter in a recipe. There's always going to be an explanation for why I'm doing things, which is kind of funny because I've been seeing a lot of dietitians post what I eat in a day and why, which I love so much because a lot of the times you just see, oh, this is what I eat in a day. I have a handful of almonds as a snack. And it's like, well, why are you having almonds?
Right.
Why are you not having something else like some fruit with it or, something else? But I love seeing that, we're kind of promoting why we're doing these things and how they can impact our health is great, and all the key like nutrients and everything that's in the food that we eat and why we're eating it. So it's always good to kind of promote, why we're doing that.
I think it's truly important, and I love that you do that because it not only gives a bit of information for your audience, but it probably helps you stay more organized since that's your big things. I love that so much. I'm about to get some planners because of you, so you inspired
Mhm.
me. I'm gonna go Target right after this call. Um, My next question is, can you share a personal favorite recipe that you've developed and why it means so much to
So I have so many recipes, I don't even know which one.
you?
But I think my favorite one is honestly, it was my chocolate protein donut recipe. It was like an Oreo protein donut recipe that I had, and it was with a collaboration with one of like a cookie company that I had. So they sent me a bunch of like gluten-free Oreos. They basically are, and I used a protein shake in that recipe rather than protein powder. Normally, like the base of my recipes are protein powder to kind of get that extra boost of protein in. But I used a protein shake this time. And I think that is what made them super moist and fluffy. And they just tasted so much better than any other recipe that I've tried. So I think that one was honestly one of my favorites. I thought it was really fun incorporating something that you wouldn't think to have in a donut, I guess I should say, like an Oreo cookie in there, but it was really fun creating that recipe.
Oh my gosh, I have to try that now. You have it, and I think everyone should definitely go check out her page. She's truly amazing. I got to give you a plug right there. Um, can you talk a little bit about how you tailor your diet plans and recommendations to meet the specific nutritional needs of your clients based on their health, conditions, or maybe dietary restrictions?
Yeah, so like I said, I work as a clinical dietitian in a facility. So we have 300 patients, and that their disease states range from, end stage renal disease, it could be sepsis, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, you name it. We have it there.
Love it.
So it can be kind of difficult, tailoring the needs to someone because they might have comorbidity. So they might have diabetes, they might be septic in that time. So it's really difficult kind of, seeing which is the most important. But a lot of it is honestly just evidence-based practice that's been out there when it comes to calculating all of their needs, and any recommendations that I make is all evidence-based. So that's pretty much all we dietitians do is evidence-based. So.
Absolutely. And I think it's truly important because it really is a science.
Mhm.
So I kind of mentioned this, but what inspired you to pursue a career as a clinical dietitian, and what motivates you to continue to make a positive impact in the field of nutrition and health?
Yeah, so I guess I should say all throughout college, and then even like most of my internship, I honestly didn't want to go into be a clinical dietitian. I really wanted to do more community nutrition, being more of an outpatient dietitian, counseling one-on-one with people. But I did have a preceptor. She was one of my last preceptors in my internship. She was my clinical one. And she told me that, when you're starting out, it's very good to have that clinical base, and that will help you go towards when you're an outpatient. You kind of have that clinical base to you that you've done. And honestly, my first job, I was in a long-term care facility, and I fell in love with it. I really enjoyed being with a lot of my patients and residents. You really get to know them. And it honestly feels like they're part of your family too. Like your patients are your family. You want to make sure that you're, doing the best for them, doing whatever you can. So I honestly fell in love with, the clinical aspect to that, and getting to know your patients. And then, it's so rewarding when you get someone who is newly diagnosed as like a type 2 diabetic. And then you can kind of help them, guide them through their life when it comes to food. So that way they don't have to be, anxious when they go to a family dinner and there's a bunch of, pasta or cookies, whatever. It's all educating them and seeing the balance in things with them. So it's really rewarding as a clinical dietitian,
Absolutely.
getting to know them.
I love that you just mentioned that because I think there really is a stigma with people who have type 2, diabetes, thinking that they can't have carbs or they can't have cookies, but it's really about balance, like you said. So I really love that you
Right.
touched on that. And I love that you say that you like treat your patients like family because you would want what you would want for your family members for your patients, and that really makes it more wholesome. And they know that
Yeah.
they're getting the best care as possible.
Yeah.
So you're amazing. I'm literally like so honored to talk to you. Um, what do you want everyone to know about the role of a clinical dietitian and the impact they can have on individuals' overall health and well-being?
So I would love for, everyone to see us clinical dietitians as someone who is not the food police. We're not there to, be scary and take away any foods that you love. We're honestly, like I said earlier, we're there to kind of help heal your relationship with food or kind of guide you through any disease states that you're there, help you overcome, whether it's GI issues or, like I said, type 2 diabetes, anything like that. We're there to kind of help you guide you through that with your life, and keep you nourished. So I really would love people not to be scared of me when I come in. I have a lot of patients who they're scared to talk to me because they're like, oh, they're gonna yell at me, and I had a cookie for lunch, and I'm like, no, it's okay as long as we're balanced throughout the day and everything's still looking good. So I would love for everyone to see us as someone there to help you rather than to
Yeah.
be scary and the food police.
Absolutely. Dietitians can be like your bestie when it comes to food and
Of
nutrition.
course, yeah.
So my last question for you is, do you have some key pieces of advice that you find yourselves frequently giving to clients to help them maintain a healthy diet and lifestyle that you want to share with my listeners?
Yes. So balance, balance, balance. That is the key to pretty much everything, I feel like. There's, like I said, there's a lot of patients who are newly diagnosed as with end stage, that one specifically, because the renal diet can be, very strict. But honestly, it's all about balance when it comes to things. I want my patients to enjoy their life and not be worried about what they're eating as long as they're being mindful with it. So that way they can just enjoy it.
Absolutely. That's so important. Thank you so much for talking to me today and being here. I
Of
really appreciate
course.
it. I'm so honored to know you and to connect with you. And I truly look up to you and all that you do in this field.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening to this new season of the Take Care of Your Body by Rye podcast. Remember, you gotta nourish to flourish. As always, with love, Rye.